Hello dear students. In our last video, we have seen about the patterns of biodiversity. That is, we have seen the latitudinal gradient and species area relationship. We have seen how using the latitudinal gradient and species area relationship, we can have an idea about the distribution of the species on our earth. Today we are going to be starting with importance of species diversity. Coming to importance of species diversity, here we are going to be seeing how different ecologists have put forth their view about the importance of species diversity. Let us study about the first ecologist, that is David Tillman, that you can see over here. So David Tillman was an ecologist, and according to him, he said that plots with more species show less year-to-year variation in total biomass. So David Tillman tried to explain that suppose if we are going to be having more number of species, then if more number of species are going to be there, this will show a stable ecosystem or an undisturbed ecosystem when compared to less number of species. Whenever there is more number of species, then there will be less year-to-year variation. Variation says difference in total biomass. Biomass is nothing but the dry weight of the living organism is known as biomass. Biomass is going to be linked with the productivity somehow. The amount of productivity is more, together with that biomass also will be more. So David Tillman said increased diversity contributes to higher productivity. So according to this David Tillman, what he said, how many number of species are there, how many number of increased species are going to be there, that much will be the higher productivity. So more number of species means productivity is high. Hence it is essential for the ecosystem health and survival of human race. So the species diversity is important not only for the healthy ecosystem but also for the survival of human race. A good example of this importance of biodiversity was given by another ecologist, Paul Ehrlich. Paul Ehrlich gave a very classy example, or he compared ecosystem with an example. That is, he named his example as the Rivett-Popper hypothesis. What is this Rivett-Popper hypothesis? It is nothing but it is an analogy used to understand the importance of biodiversity. Analogy here means it is somewhat a comparison, you can say. He has compared the ecosystem. So it was proposed, this Rivett-Popper hypothesis was proposed by Stanford ecologist Paul Ehrlich. He compared the biodiversity. He compared the biodiversity to whom? Let us see. In his Rivett-Popper hypothesis, he compared our ecosystem to an aeroplane. First, let me tell you what is this Rivett-Popper hypothesis. Here, rivet is going to be nothing but your screw. Rivet, the literal meaning of the term rivet is going to be a screw. Popper means removing. Hypothesis is going to be an assumption given by Paul Ehrlich. What he compared, let us see. He compared our ecosystem to an aeroplane. He gave us an incident. Suppose you are sitting in an aeroplane. The aeroplane is flying up in the high sky. The person besides you starts removing the screw of the seat. He's sitting on the seat and the front seat screw is there. He will start removing that just for time pass. Seeing that, even you start removing one of the screw that is there in front of you. In this manner, if each of the person sitting in the aeroplane start removing the screws of the aeroplane, what will happen? And even in that, suppose some intelligent person goes and removes the screws that are present on the wings of the aeroplane or the fan of the aeroplane, or from some important part of the aeroplane, he is going and removing the screw. Until it was the seat screw, it was fine. But suppose we are removing some important screws like that of from the wings or from the tail or from maybe from the fan, will the aeroplane be able to fly in the air? Of course not. Not only that person will be killed who removed the screw, but together with that, all the other people there in the aeroplane will be dead, because the aeroplane will not remain in the air, but instead it will crash down. So Paul Ehrlich compared this Revett-Popper hypothesis of an aeroplane with the ecosystem. He said, consider that our ecosystem is an aeroplane and the screw is nothing but the species that are present in our ecosystem. We are going on removing one of the screws. There are many species in our environment, like there were many screws in the aeroplane. So what we start doing, we start removing one species. Due to some reason, the species are getting lost. Until small species are getting lost, it is fine. But if some important species is dead, then what will happen? Will the ecosystem remain stable? No. The ecosystem will become dangerously weak like that of the aeroplane. Like if the screws on the wings were removed, then the aeroplane will crash. In the same manner, if some important species from our ecosystem is lost, then the ecosystem stability will crash. And together with that, even the human race will not be able to survive. Each and every species is dependent to each other. You can see over here, each and every species is connected to each other, even the human beings. You don't know which may be the key important species. You don't know by removing which species the ecosystem will crash. So it is important that each and every organism, each and every species of the ecosystem have to be protected. So that is what the Revett-Popper hypothesis that was given by Paul Ehrlich. He said that today we are removed almost the screws from the seats, like many species have been lost. But suppose if the key species are going to be lost, then it is going to be a major problem even to the human race. That is going to be the Revett-Popper hypothesis given by Paul Ehrlich. Then, coming to the loss of biodiversity. Let us see until today how many species we have already lost. Now we have seen how important it is to study, or how important it is to protect this biodiversity. Because ultimately, by protecting the biodiversity, we are protecting ourselves. So let us see until now what all we have lost. According to IUCN is nothing but International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. So here, according to the IUCN Red List 2004, that is the IUCN keeps a note of the extinct species It is an organization who puts forth the red list in which the extinct species are mentioned. So according to this IUCN Red List 2004 says that around 784 species have already got extinct, which includes 338 vertebrate species, 359 invertebrate species and 87 plant species. So these many species, that is 784 species, have already got extinct in the last 500 years. So if you are seeing here in the last 500 years, that means every year around 1 to 2 species are getting lost every year. Here are some important examples of the extinct species. In them comes the dodo. Dodo was a bird, duck-like bird. It was from Mauritius. It is no more found now. Quagga is going to be a zebra-like animal, which was from Africa. Again, it is lost. It is extinct. Then thylacine was again a dog-like thing from Australia. It is lost. Steller sea cow was from Russia. It was something like a seal. It was a large animal, aquatic animal. It is lost from Russia it was. And 3 subspecies of tiger, that is Bali, Java and Caspian, have already been lost from our ecosystem. From your exam point of view, these examples are important. In one of the years, past years, only these 3 names were asked for 3 marks. So see that you remember the names of the extinct species according to IUCN Red List 2004. It is dodo, quagga, thylacine, Steller sea cow and 3 subspecies of tiger, that is Bala, Javan and Caspian. We could see that 27 species disappeared in the last 20 years. Just in the last 20 years, we have lost around 27 species. Around 15,500 species have faced the threat of extinction. Means only few species have been left, that is only few organisms are being left in those species. Suppose if we are not protecting this 15,500 species and other species, soon even they will be lost. So they are at the threat of extinction. From which we can see that there are 12% birds, 23% mammals, 32% amphibians, 31% gymnosperms are facing the threat of extinction. Threat is nothing but the danger of extinction, means lost. We could see that the current species extinction rate is 100 to 1000 times faster than in the pre-human times, before the human beings had become dominant on our ecosystem. The current of extinction was very delayed. But now, with the human race becoming powering, we could see that around 100 to 1000 times faster is the rate of extinction. And hence it is also known as the 6th mass extinction. Thus, that is present, it is the 6th mass extinction. Mass is a large extinction. If this trend continues, nearly half of all the species on earth might be extinct within next 100 years. If we are not doing anything to protect them, then soon in the next 100 years all these species, maybe including human beings, will be lost. So here you can see a photograph of the 3 tiger species that were lost, that is Bali tiger, Javan tiger and the Caspian tiger. These 3 species of tiger have already become extinct now. Coming to the impacts or the effects of the loss of biodiversity. The main is going to be effect that we are going to see is decline in plant production. Right in the starting we have seen that the number of species are more, the productivity will be more. So if the number of species will decline, automatically the plant production will also decline. Environmental perturbations such as drought. When there is decrease in the plant productivity, plants are less, then it will lead to dry conditions like the drought, very everywhere dry, no proper rainfalls. Plus, we could see that increased variability in the ecosystem processes such as plant productivity, water use, and pest and disease cycles. Suppose if we don't stop this loss of biodiversity, we can see that this will lead to the increase in the disease cycles and also in the pests. We are also seeing this effect today. The number of diseases, the number of pests have been increased due to the loss of biodiversity only. These diseases that are causing is nothing but it shows an imbalance in the ecosystem. Coming to the causes of the loss of biodiversity. Why we can see that this biodiversity is getting lost? What is the reason behind this? The reason behind the loss of biodiversity is called as the evil quartet. There are 4 main reasons for the loss of biodiversity. Which are those? Those are habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, and co-extinction. These are going to be the 4 important reasons of the loss of biodiversity. Let us see each one of them. Coming to the first one, that is your habitat loss and fragmentation. Habitat loss and fragmentation means nothing but habitat is nothing but the place of living. We can see that the organisms' place of living is going to be forest. Many of the organisms are living in the forest. Suppose we are cutting down the forest, what will happen? It will lead to the loss of the species. So, habitat loss and fragmentation is the most important cause of the loss of biodiversity. Here is an excellent example that is of the tropical rainforest. This tropical rainforests that are there, these were once covering more than 14% of the land's surface area. These rainforests now cover not more than 6%. They are being destroyed very fast. So you can see the decline from 14% to 6%. Such dramatic decrease in the forest cover is being seen. Thousands of hectares of rainforest have been lost. Then, other example is going to be the Amazon rainforest. Amazon rainforest is famous for the heavy biodiversity that you can see. But this Amazon rainforest is being cut today for cultivating the soya beans and for conversion of lands for cattle. Lands for cattle is nothing but they are converting the forest lands into the grazing lands for the rearing of animals. For animals to eat, they need grass, and for the growing of the grass, they are cutting down the forest and they are making it into grasslands. So, due to this, what is happening is a lot of the forest is being lost. Amazon forest was so huge that it was called as the lungs of the planet. But now we can see it is slowly being degraded, and this is going to be a large threat to many of the organisms. The degradation of many habitats by pollution also threatens the survival of many species. Then another here is going to be fragmentation. Whenever the deforestation or cutting down of trees is going to be taking place, or whenever we are destroying the forest, it will lead to the fragmentation of the habitat. Now what is happening? There are going to be some mammals or birds who require large territories. They are marking their large territories. But when due to fragmentation, such type of patches are generated, or due to the fragmentation, these open areas are created. These organisms, animals who require large territories, some of the migratory birds who are going to be requiring large areas, what will happen to them? The population, their population will automatically decline due to the loss of the diversity. That is because of the loss of the plants, we are going to be seeing that the organisms are also going to be lost. So that is habitat loss and fragmentation. The second is going to be overexploitation. Humans always depend on nature for food, shelter. But I agree, human beings cannot survive without the nature. We need the nature, we have to depend on the nature. But the problem is when need turns to greed. When this need turns to greed, it is overexploitation of natural resources. And many species have been got extinct due to this overexploitation. Need is going to be when we are killing the organisms for food or maybe for shelter or for safety. But we are killing it for greed. For example, people are using the handbags or the jackets made of animal leather, shoes made of animal leather, tiger skinned jacket or maybe the tiger skinned purses. We are killing the organisms for their skin. How correct it is to kill the organisms just to earn money, for the greed, for the luxury. It is totally wrong. And due to this overexploitation, many of the species like the Steller sea cow and the passenger pigeon have got extinct only due to overexploitation. This is how the passenger pigeon looked. It was a very beautiful bird, and today it has been lost only due to overexploitation. It was been hunted for the meat, it was eaten, and also it was imprisoned. That is, it was for to keep it in the cage for luxury purpose. They used to kill the passenger pigeon, and this is how it got extinct. Even today we can see that many of the marine fishes that are there, marine fish population around the world are harvested, endangering the continued existence of some commercially important species. We are doing fishing to a large extent, and during this fishing, many of the important species which are rare are also going to be getting caught and dying. Then, the third is alien species invention. Alien species, alien means what? A thing which does not belong to this area is alien. Species are good in the particular area only. We should not disturb the natural existence. We should not put any new species into a land where it does not belong. Because when we do this, the natural environment that is going to be there will be spoiled. So due to the alien species invention, it caused a decline or extinction of indigenous species. Indigenous species is nothing but the species who were already living over there. Here are some examples of alien species inventions. That is how some species who were native to that land, some species who were already living over there, have been lost because some other organisms were introduced in their local area. So here is an example of the Nile perch. So this is a Nile perch that you can see over here. This Nile perch was introduced in Lake Victoria in East Africa. And when this was introduced, after that, it caused the extinction, that is loss of more than 200 species of cichlid fish in the lake. These were the chichilled fishes that you can see, beautiful small fishes. These were present in the Lake Victoria. Around more than 200 species were present, and because this large Nile perch was introduced over there, these species were totally lost from that lake. Other example is going to be the invasive weed species like carrot grass, then lanthana and water hyacinth. That is nothing but your ecornia or the water hyacinth that you can see over here. This is the lanthana. चतुरंगी फुलं असं काहीतरी म्हणतो आपण. Then carrot grass, काँग्रेसचं झाड, what we call. So what is happening? These are nothing but wild species, weed species. These are not giving you fruit. The fruit is not edible, nor any organisms will eat it. But they are having a negative impact on the environment. They don't belong to our natural environment in India. But these were brought from outside because for the show purpose. At least this water hyacinth was just brought for the show purpose. And today it is eating maximum lakes of our India, or even in our Belgaum we can see that many of the lakes have been attacked by this water hyacinth. These water hyacinth grow rapidly and lead to the loss of the biodiversity of that lake, making the lake dry. Then another example is illegal introduction of African catfish for aquaculture is posing a threat to indigenous catfish in our river. So Indian catfish is going to be somewhat looking like this, smaller one, cute one, but they are small in size. So what they did was, from Africa they brought the larger catfishes for the commercial purpose. They brought it and they were doing aquaculture. But due to that, our natural catfishes are getting lost due to this African catfishes which are larger. Last is going to be the co-extinction. Each one is depending on the other, and there are going to be some species who cannot survive without the other. We have seen this in mutualism, how one species is totally dependent on the other, and if that species is lost, even the coexisting species get lost. So extinction of the parasite when host is extinct. Suppose if the host dies, even the parasite is going to be dying. Then we can see in the plant pollinators, mutualism, that is extinction of one causes extinction of the other. Honeybee, that is not the honeybee, wasps, mutualism. The wasps were going to be the example wherein if one fig tree is lost, then the wasp also will be lost. In the same manner, if all the flowers are lost, even the honeybees are lost. In this manner, if one species is depending on the other mutually, then if one is lost, the other will also be lost in a chain. In a chain, all the species will be lost. So these four reasons that is going to be the fragmentation, that is habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invention and co-extinction are going to be called as the evil quadrant. Evil quadrant means the dangerous quadrant, the danger to the biodiversity, danger to the ecosystem. This is going to be the reasons why our ecosystem is facing a danger today, and we have to see that how we have to conserve our biodiversity, how we have to protect our biodiversity. So how to conserve, or what is the need to protect the biodiversity, and how we can conserve our biodiversity, that we will see in my next video. So much is enough for today.